Hello friends, let's discuss some important topics related to economics which will asked in UPSC Prelims 2023. So, the first topic is Vibrant Village Program. It is a centrally sponsored scheme announced by Union Budget 2022-2023 for the Department of Village for development of village in the northern border, thus improving the quality of life of people living in identified border villages. It will cover the border areas of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim and Ladakh. It will cover 2963 villages, which 663 of them are to be covered in the first phase. Vibrant Village Action Plan will be created by the district administration with the help of Gram Panchayat. There will not be overlaps to the border area development program. Objectives: the scheme aids to identify the development of economic drivers based on local, natural, human and other resources of border villages on the northern border. Development of growth of centers on hub and spoke model through the promotion of social entrepreneurship, empowerment of youth and women's thoughts, skill development and entrepreneurship. Leveraging the tourism potentials through the promotions of local cultural traditional knowledge and heritage, development of sustainable eco-agri-business on the concept of one village, one product through community-based organization, cooperatives and NGOs. So, what are its significance? It aimed at strengthening the security grid of line of actual control. It will also provide window for ITBP to set, replicate and train for personnel. The decision to raise additional battalions was taken to keeping the eye to need for effective monitoring in border areas and battalions. The government decisions to approve the financial package for border village and upgrade security comes at time when the issue with China are still to be resolving along the LAC in Ladakh. PLA troops are still squatting in Dipsang Plain and Damchok. China is also upgrading infrastructure along LAC. Singhu Nala Tunnel. So what is this? 1.3 kilometer tunnels on the Nimku Padam Dharcha road links to provide all-weather connectivity to the border areas of Ladakh. The tunnel will be completed in December 2025. It is very important far as security and safety of countries is concerned. It will also help to the movement of security forces in that region. Now, next topic is digital rupees. RBI announced the launch of first pilot for digital rupee or CBFC, Central Bank of Digital Currency. So this is important for prelims point of view. On 1st November 2022, RBI launched the digital rupee for wholesale segment and settle secondary market transition in government securities. What are the key points about pilot projects? The first phase of pilot projects will cover select location on the bank closed user group comprising participating consumers and merchants. This pilot is initially cover four cities namely Mumbai, New Delhi, Bengaluru and Bhubaneswar, where the customers and merchants will able to use the digital rupee or e-rupee. According to the central bank, the pilot will test a robustness to entire process of digital rupee creation and distribution of retail uses of real times. What is e-rupee? RBI defines CBDC as the digital rupee form of currency note issued by the central bank. It is a sovereign and entirely independent currency issued by the central banks in accordance with the country's monetary policy. So, what is legal tender money? Once they officially issued, CBDC will considered as a medium of payment and a legal tender by all the three party citizens, government bodies and enterprises. Being government recognized, it can be freely converted to any commercial bank, money or notes. RBI is not favors to e-rupee with interest because the people might withdraw money from bank to convert it to digital rupee, causing bank to fail. Now, next topic is Global Hunger Index 2022. India ranks 107 out of 121 countries under the serious category on Global Hunger Index released by Concern Worldwide and Wealth Hunger Life. Some related initiatives by India to reducing hunger: Eat Right India movements, Poshan Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri Matritva Vandana Yojana, Food Fortification, National Food Security Act 2013, Mission Indradhanush, Integrated Child Development Service Scheme. Basics of GHI. GHI score calculated on 100-point scale reflecting the severity of hunger. 0 is the best score, no hunger, and 100 is the worst. Each set of GHI score uses data from 5 years periods. In 2022, GHI score are calculated using data from 2017 through 2021. What are its indicators? Adequate food supply, 1/3 weightage, undernourishment, child undernutrition, child stunting, child wasting, child 5 under mortality. Some important definitions. Child mortality, under 5 mortality rate, refers to probably dying between birth and exactly 5 years of age expected to per 1000 lives birth. Stunting, low for their age. Undernourishment, dietary energy intake, and child wasting, children whose weight is low for their height. Now, infant mortality rate, IMR, number of death of children under the age of 1 year per 1000 lives births for a given year. In accordance to the UN Millennium Development Goal, the goal was to cut down child mortality rates by 2/3 from 1995 till 2015. In India, it declined considerably at the rate almost 57%. The IMR come down to 18 infant death as per 1000 lives birth. In 2033, death as per 1000 lives birth. IMR has two components: infant dying within 1 year's birth, neonatal mortality rate. It defines the number of deaths during first 28 completed days of life per 1000 lives births of a given period of time. Globally, according to UNICEF, NMR was 18 deaths per 1000 lives birth, whereas the India IMR was 23 deaths per 1000 lives birth. The decline of NMR is very slow pace, both globally and in India. It almost 1/3 of the rate to decline IMR. Now, next topic is proposal of gold exchange. Security and Exchange Board of India (SEBI) has proposed framework for settling the spot gold exchange. The spot gold exchange is where financial instruments such as commodities, currencies and securities are traded for immediate delivery. SEBI is a statutory body established in April 1992, as we know, accordance with the provision of Security and Exchange Board of India 1992. So, some key points of related to gold exchange. So, first one is the first tranche of entirely serious to delivering gold locally manufactured or imported on the exchange platform would have to approach a SEBI regulated wallet managers and deposit physical gold meeting quality and quantity of parameter with it. Against this, the wallet manager will issue EGR, electronic gold receipt, which will be traceable on exchange in the Second tranche. The beneficial owner will surrenders of EGR as a wallet managers to take delivery of gold in the third tranche. The common interference will be developed between a wallet managers, deposit clearing corporation and stock exchange to enable seamless executions of three tranches. The proposed denominations reflecting to underlying physical gold of EGRs are 1 kilogram, 100 gram, 50 gram and subjects condition. Those can also even 5 to 10 gram. STT Security Transaction Tax will be levied by trading EGR. IGST Integrated Goods and Services Tax at the time of delivery. Reason for creating separate exchange gold is, first reason is to create a vibrant gold ecosystem in India which commensurates with a large share of global gold consumptions. Second is India's after China is the second largest consumer of gold globally with the annual gold demand are approximately 800 to 900 tons. The objective behind to setting of gold exchange for India to become a price settlers rather than price tracker and to establish India good delivery for standard akin to London Bullion Market Association accredited gold bars. Setting up of new stock export gold exchange has advantages such as single goods delivery standard, reduced market fragmentations, improved liquidity and single reference price. World Economic Forum India has 135 out of 146 country of Global Gender Gap Index 2022. So Global Gender Gap Index is one of the important topic. India's overall score has improved from 0.265 in 2021 to 0.629, which is the 7th highest score in the last 16 years. So in 2021, India was ranked 140 out of 156 countries. The gap difference between women and men is reflected in social, political, intellectual, cultural and economic attainments or attitudes. So what is Global Gender Gap Index? It is a benchmarks countries on their progress toward gender parity in 4 dimensions and sub-matrices. So the 4 dimensions is here: economic participations and opportunity, educational attachments, health and survival, political empowerment. So these are important. Now, what are its objectives? To serve a campus to track the progress of reflective gap between women and men on health, education, economy and politics. Through this annual yardsticks, the stakeholders within each country are able to set priorities relevant in such a specific economic, political and cultural context. Next topic is PM ASA, Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshan Abhiyan, is a scheme that aims to ensuring the fair price for farmer and their produce. By strengthening the procurement progress, the PM ASA will be improves the income of farmers to a greater extent. So the PM ASA schemes of following components. What are its components? First component is price support schemes. Through price support scheme, the procurement of pulses, oilseeds will carried out of by the central nodal agencies with the support of state government. The PSS will set up by the Food Corporation of India along with NAFED or any expense incurred with the bond by the central government. Second component is price deficiency payment scheme. In this scheme, all oilseeds notified for SP will be covered. District payment for the difference of minimum support price and selling price be made to registered farmers. All the payment will be made as a registered bank accounts for farmer. In other words, the procurements will be to take place, but rather than difference of MSP and selling price will be paid for the farmers. Last component is pilot of private procurements and stock list schemes. As per the pilot of private procurement and stock list schemes, the private sector will take part of procurement operations. The states will have the option to carry out the schemes on a pilot basis and selected for APMC with the involvement of private sector. Now, move on next topic, that is Amrit Sarovar Mission. So, Amrit Sarovar Mission was launched in 24th April 2022 on the view of conservation of waters for the future. So, what are its aims? The mission aims to developing regenerating 75 water bodies in each district of the country as part of the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. The total it would lead to the creation of 50,000 water bodies of size of about acre or more. The mission increases mobilize of citizens and non-government resources to supplementing these efforts. Ministries involved. The mission has launched with the whole government approach with 6 ministries department, namely Department of Rural Development, Department of Land Resource, Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, Department of Water Resource, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Forest Environment and Climate Change. Refocusing of various schemes. The mission works through the state and district through refocusing of various schemes such as Mahatma Gandhi Narega, Finance Commission, 15th Finance Commission grants, प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना, सब स्कीम्स सच एज वाटर सेट डेवलपमेंट कंपोनेंट्स, हर खेत को पानी, बिसाइड्स द स्टेट ओन स्कीम्स. What are its target? Mission of Amrit Sarovar is to be completed 15th August 2023. Around 50,000 Amrit Sarovars may be constructed in the country. Each of these Amrit Sarovar will have approx of area of 1 acre with the water holding capacity of 10,000 cubic meters. People participation in the missions are focal point. Local freedom fighter, their family members, martyrs, family members, Padma awardee and citizens of local area wherein the Amrit Sarovar is to be constructed will engage at all the stages. On every 15th August, national flag hosting will be organized in every Amrit Mahotsav sites. What are its achievements? As far 12,241 sites have been finalized to the construction of Amrit Sarovar by states, districts, out of which work has been started of 4856 Amrit Sarovars. Now, move on next topics, and that is internationalization of rupees. So this is one of the important topic. It is the process involves to increase the use of rupee cross-border transactions. So, nationalization of rupees. Currently, while dollar accounts 88% of international trade, rupee accounts for less than 1.7 of global trades. So that's the huge difference. India is currently has full convertibility of rupee in the current account, such as the export and import. However, India's capital account convertibility is not full. These are ceilings on governments and corporate debt, external commercial borrowing and equity. Need for internationalizations. What are its needs? Excessive dependence on dollar combined with global infiltrations and economic crisis has led to depreciation of rupee to an all-time low. If the rupee is internationalized, India would not have to depend on US dollars for its trades. RBI is allowed to domestic traders to settle their import-export bill in rupees. Advantages of internationalizations. First advantage is appreciates Indian currency value, mitigate exchange rate volatility, making significant savings, circumvent sanctions, improve the standing as global economic power. So these are some important and some associated risks also. Internationalization of rupee. First is impact on monetary policy. The internationalization of rupee will limit the country's ability to take monetary policy specific as for their local economic demand. India economy will become more susceptible to international economic fluctuations. Managed currency. It has been utilized to protect the economy from damage during economic crisis in 1939-2008. It may not to case anymore. Outflow of hot money. So these are some demerits. Now move on next topic, and that is Gati Shakti University. So here are some key points. Gati Shakti University is granted by the central status by the Union Cabinet in July 2022. In August this year, the central government introduced a bill in Lok Sabha to convert the National Rail and Transportation Institute into Gati Shakti Vishwavidyalaya, an autonomous central university. The Central University Bill was introduced by Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan, which seek to expand the scope of university from beyond railways to cover entire transport sector to support the ambitious growth of modernization in the field. So, next topic is agriculture census. Agriculture census is conducted every 5 years, which brings undertaken to after the delay due to COVID-19 pandemic. The entire census operation is conducted 3 phases. Operationalizing holding is taken to statistical units at a micro level for data collection. Based on the agriculture census data collected in these 3 phases, the department brings out of 3 detailed reports analyzing the trend on various parameters, all India and state UTs level. District Tahsil level reports are prepared by respective state and UTs. Agriculture census are main sources of information on variety of agriculture parameters at a relatively minute level. Such a number of area is operational holdings, their size, class-wise distribution, land use, tendency and cropping pattern, etc. So, 11th census, about 11th census reports. The field work of agriculture census will start in August 2022. This is the first time data collections for agriculture census will conducted on smartphone and tablets so that data will available in time. It includes use of digital land records like title records and survey reports, collection of data through apps software using smartphone tablets, complete enumeration of all villages and states with land record during the phase done in the states of land records, real-time monitoring purpose for and processing. What do you mean by digital agriculture? About digital agriculture is a ICT, information and communication technologies, and the data ecosystems to support the development and delivery timely targeted informations and services to make farming profitable and sustainable while delivering safe, nutritious and affordable food for all. Examples: agriculture biotechnology is a range of tools including traditional breeding techniques that alter living organisms or parts of organisms to make modify products, improve plant or animals, or develop microorganisms for specific agriculture uses. Precision agriculture. So what is this? It is an approach where inputs to utilize the precise amount to get increased average yield compared to the traditional cultivation techniques such as agroforestry, intercropping, crop rotation, etc. It is based on using ICT, digital and wireless technology for data measurement, wealth monitoring, robotics, drone technology, etc. So, now move on next. And the next topic is Primary Agriculture Credit Society. So PACS. PACS are ground level cooperative credit institution that provide short term and medium term agriculture loan to the farmers for the various agriculture and farming activities. It works at the grassroots Gram Panchayat and village level. The first primary agriculture credit society was formed in the year 1994. The PACS functioning at the base of the cooperative banking systems constitutes the major retail outlets of short-term and medium-term credits in rural sectors. What are its objectives? First is to raise the capital for the purpose of making loans and supporting member of essential activities, to collect deposits from the members with the goal to improving the savings habits, to supply agriculture inputs and services members of a reasonable price, to arrange to supply and development of improved breed livestock for members, to make all necessary arrangements for improving irrigation and land owned members, to encourage various economic generating activities through supply and necessary input services. So let's talk about significance of PACS. They are multifunctional organization that provides a variety of services such as banking, on-site supply, marketing produce and consumer goods trading. They function as a mini bank to provide finance as well as counter to provide agriculture inputs and consumer goods. This society also provide warehousing services to farmers in order to preserve, store their food grains. PACS account for 41% of the Kisan Credit Card loans given by all the entities in the country, and 95% of KCC loan through PACS are small and marginal farmer. What are its issues? Issues with PACS. First is inadequate coverage. Through geographically, the active PACS cover 90% of 5.8 villages. They are the part of country, especially in the northeast, where its coverage is very low. Further, the rural population covered, the member is only 50% of all the rural households. Inadequate resource. The resource of PACS are much too inadequate in relation to the short and medium term credit needs of rural economy. The bull of the even of these inadequate funds come from higher financing agency and not through own fund of societies or deposit of mobilization by them. Limited credit. First, the PACS provide credit to only a small proportion of their total rural population. The credit is given to confined mainly to the crop finance, seasonal agriculture operation and medium-term loans for identifiable purpose such as diggings of wells, installation of pumps, etc. Overdues. This is the another issue. Large and dues have been a big problem for PACS. They cut for the circulation of loanable funds, reduce the borrowing as well as to lendings of power societies and give them to a bad image of societies to defaulting debaters are willful. Bigger landowners are take undue advantage for their relatively stronger positions in villages in both approaching cheaper cooperative credit and not paying banks for their loan in times. Now, move on next topics, and that is fourth industrial revolution. So this is one of the important topics. The chances is very high to ask this topic. Buildings on foundation have given by the third industrial revolutions. The fourth industrial revolution is moving from an electronic based industry to process which is the combination of human beings and electronics. It includes cyber physical system, Internet of Things, big data analytics, cloud computing, cognitive computing, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, autonomous vehicles, etc. Based on the example, Wood to proceeds artificial intelligence has broken the distinction between man, the machine, and intelligence. So, what are its impacts? Impacts of Industrial 4.0: services or business models improvement. Second is reliability of continuous productivity. Third is IT security and better resource utilization. Fourth is machine safety and better working condition. Now move on next topic, that is Bullion exchange. So what is Bullion exchange? Bullion is a gold bar. Bullion refers to a physical gold or silver high quality purity that is often kept in form of bar, ingots or coins. Bullion can sometimes to considered as a legal tender as it often held to the reserve by central banks and they held by institutional investors. So note these points, they are sometimes treated as a legal tender. This type of statements will ask in UPSC prelims. The government had notified on August 2020 about the bullion spot delivery contracts and bullion depository receipts with underlying bullion and financial products related to services and financial services. So about bullion exchange. What is bullion exchange? The bullion exchange is a market through which buyer and seller trade gold and silver as well as associated derivatives. There are various bullion markets around the world, that is London bullion market known for primary gold market, trading platform or gold or silver. Gift City. As we know, Gujarat International Finance Tech City, Gift City, is located near in Gandhinagar, Gujarat. It consists of multi-services, a special economic zone, which houses in India's first international financial services center and exclusive domestic tariff area. Gift City, Gujarat International Financial Technology City, is envisaged to integrated hub for financial technology services, not just India but for the world. IFSCA is unified regulator for the development and regulation of financial products, financial services, financial institutions in financial services centers in India. The social infrastructure is the cities includes a school, medical facilities, a proposed hospital, Gift City business hub with indoor and outdoor sport facilities. It also includes integrated, well-planned residential housing projects, making Gift City a truly walk-to-walk city. So, thanks for watching, friends, and don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye bye.